Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Steve with the Sales Syndicate, and welcome back to the channel. On today's video, we're going to be breaking down the 5 most important characteristics of a high-performing sales manager and what are the characteristics that they need to have in order to get this job done. Now, this video is stemming from a question that I got from a business owner that I've been working with, helping them to scale and grow out their sales organization. And he said, Steve, who do I need to hire in order for me to be able to scale and grow my business? I'm sitting here, I'm in a rut, I am stuck. If I had the right sales organization, I would be able to 10x my business. That's oftentimes the case with a digital marketing coach, consultant, or agency services. They're pretty good at marketing and advertising, but they struggle when it comes to the sales aspect. Here is the response that I gave to him and what I broke down. Let's jump into that training. All right, so the first thing that I wanted to cover with that individual wasn't necessarily these top 5 things. I wanted to make sure that it was crystal clear that oftentimes the best sales rep isn't necessarily the best sales manager. I wanted to go into more depth. He asked me, well, what would you do? This is the response that essentially I gave to him. Anytime I've gone into a sales organization or I've worked with somebody, helping them to scale and grow their sales organization, I always felt like it was imperative that I actually got in the trenches with the sales team, proved out the process, increased the overall closing rate, shot for obviously doing better than anybody else, just from the sheer fact of when somebody knows that an individual can actually help them improve their sales processes and make more money, it's going to go obviously a very, very long way. But it's not necessarily the most important aspect of this entire prospect. Just being very, very good at sales, beating everybody else in the sales organization isn't the key thing, although sometimes that first initial step certainly can help. What I explained to them is that these are the characteristics that are going to be most important to the individual that you actually hire. First and foremost, they have to be a strong leader. They have to be able to connect well. They have to be able to get into the trenches, help lead and guide the actual organization or the sales organization to what they actually want to accomplish. Not all the time are the best sales reps in the world are actually the best leaders. In fact, oftentimes I've found that high producing sales reps sometimes can be selfish. They're just looking out for them and they're just concerned about their paycheck. Now, I understand that concept because they're there to sell and they're there to make money, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they have to be made the actual sales manager. So think for leadership first and foremost. Number 2, the second most important aspect of this would be a strategic thinker. Now, in an ongoing, very fast-paced market like digital marketing, coaching consultant, where offers, funnels, sales processes are continuing to adapt. I'll give you a perfect example. 5 years ago, you used to be able to run traffic to a VSL and have a ton of people watch that VSL and book a scheduled call and just hire closers. Now, 5 years down the road, you actually have to have people that are calling on all of those partial leads, monetizing every lead that actually comes in, having oftentimes triage calls, and then high talented actual closers. That's a big shift over the course of the last 5 years with what's happened inside of the marketplace, just considering what a sales organization needs to adapt within a relatively short period of time. So they need to be strategic thinkers. They need to be able to think about where is the market at? Where's the market going? How do we look at the entire funnel process and messaging to be able to improve overall closing rate? So strategic thinker is number 2. Number 3, they of course have got to be results oriented. They have to focus on KPIs. They need to know the numbers and they need to be able to make sure that the team and the organization knows what those numbers are. Sales management at the end of the day is very, very easy when the organization or the sales organization knows exactly what the standard and the KPIs actually are. It's easy to let somebody go when the standard is actually set and they're not producing the kind of numbers and you're having those conversations and you're working with them. And after that period of time, they just aren't able to get to where they need to be at from a KPI standpoint. The writing is already on the wall. They're already aware of that because they already know the numbers. So the sales manager has to obviously focus on the numbers and results-oriented outcomes. Number 4, they have to be a fantastic coach. They need to be able to understand exactly where their sales organization is at, where they're struggling with, and being willing to put in the time with individual sales reps to help them to reach their goal. At the end of the day, great leadership is about service. You're there to actually serve the other sales reps to make sure that they're inside of KPI. The more turnover that a sales organization has, the lower it's going to actually perform. The better that the sales manager can actually take individual sales reps and continue to improve improve overall KPI and results simply allows the business to be able to put more money into marketing and advertising and thus continuing to scale and grow the sales organization. So they have to be fantastic at identifying where are their gaps with the sales reps that they're managing, where are they going wrong, what issues are they having of why they're not actually closing deals, and to be able to effectively mentor them in a very short period of time to get that sales rep into hitting KPIs in a relatively short period of time. If they cannot do that or they do not have that skill set, you need to reconsider or think about them as the actual sales manager. The fifth thing that I want to cover here is excellent communication. They have to have great rapport with their sales organization. Their communication has to be crystal clear, and they have to be able to communicate in a way where everybody is completely on the same page, along with being able to motivate and drive actual results. So I would say number 5 is being fantastic at being able to communicate not only with the sales organization, but with the other stakeholders as well. The business, the numbers, if there's stakeholders involved, like a board, they have to be able to be a fantastic communicator and making sure that that business understands where the sales are at, what are the areas of improvement, what is their action plan to be able to improve overall results. If you're considering hiring a sales manager, take those 5 things into consideration. Oftentimes in business, I see that the biggest Achilles heel for the business owner just has to do with they have the right marketing and messaging, they've figured that out. But the gap is the fact that they cannot scale and grow their sales organization, oftentimes because the business owner, especially coaches, consultants, and people in the high ticket sales space, just haven't had the time or the energy, or they haven't actually managed people. So that is a big gap that as soon as that you can solve that problem, your business can actually take off. Like always, guys, put a comment below if you have any questions, follow the channel, and I look forward to having you on other videos. See you soon.